Hi there, I'm Spira, and I just want to introduce you to the very basics of watercolor painting. I'm just going to start with the tools that you will need and how to start with a few basics. Okay, to start we have a few different types of paint here that I want to show you. Starting with the one that's probably most familiar. This is a typical kit. Comes with a cover. This is usually used to mix colors in, and I left it from last time, and it's very easy to wash because it's watercolor, so you can wash that easily. So these are the kinds that we're accustomed to using. This one comes with a paintbrush. Not all of them do. And then generally you use this to mix your colors. So this is just a mixing tray. These are wells. Okay, you can mix your color inside the wells. And also you can leave your brush here. There are little nubs between the wells. It will keep your brushes from rolling around and falling on the floor or wherever. Usually when we use these colors, we'll mix it in here. So let's say, for example, I'm going to take some blue. There's a lot of water on my brush. Okay, and then I can put the color in here. I'm going to use a bigger brush so you can see it better, because this little brush probably won't get as much color as I would like. Notice also I have 2 containers of water. So this one I use just for clean water. And then this is sort of like a double wash. So if I've gotten most of the color off of my brush in here and it's starting to get dirty, instead of having to change my water every 5 minutes, I can just do a double wash and then I'm ready to go. So I'm going to take some of this color and put it on the brush. Now I'm going to wipe the brush on the side of the pan. This takes a little time, just be patient. Okay. Maybe I need more water. Whoops. And again, I put it right in here. Wash my brush, and let's mix it with yellow, so that, or red actually, red will be a faster mix. And depending on your paint, some paints are easier to get good saturation and some are not so easy. So I've mixed these two together. I'm just going to use a small test strip just so you can see what the color looks like real quick. And then notice how, this is a pretty big brush, notice how I wipe it on the sides every now and then. That's if I don't want a lot of paint on my brush. If I want a lot, I won't wipe it on the sides. But this is just to show you what we did. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then we'll move on. So I'll wash my brush. I also keep paper towels nearby so I can wipe my brush. Don't ever smash your brush into a paper towel and mush it around. That is the fastest way to ruin a brush. Watercolor brushes, all paint brushes, are not as stable as you think. You know, if you want to invest in a nice brush that has good, what we call like a nice snapback, some brushes can cost $20, $30, $40 or more. So you want to treat your brushes gently. They're tools. They're very important tools. So if you have a lot of water on the brush, you can actually squeeze it if you need to, gently. Otherwise, just wiping it off is enough. The same goes for the rinsing. Don't smash your brush in the water and mush it around. Be gentle, swirl it around, and you should be able to get most of it off the brush. This one is very similar to the Reeves kit. They come in all kinds of styles, the different kits, so feel free to try different ones. I like these. I find them very convenient and they're really great for traveling. But these are too. This is a more traditional setup. The reason it looks kind of funny is because this paint comes in tubes. And what you do in a kit like this, you can see that I have a number of little wells. These wells are specifically to hold the color. So you'll just squeeze some of the tube color into this. What happens is after they're sitting for a while, they do dry because they have water in them, so the water evaporates and they get dry, and you can touch it and you see it's not coming off on my hand. But I can just take a paintbrush when I'm ready to go back in and reuse them, and that's it. You can re-wet it really, really easily, just like new. So these are also convenient because after you put all your colors in your tray, this is a customizable tray as well, right? And then it also has this little finger pop-up, thumb pop-up for people who want to hold their tray while they're painting. So some people like to stand when they're painting, so this makes it very convenient. It's not totally necessary. Again, it's up to you. Everybody is different. I don't personally use it. I like to sit when I do watercolor, but you never know, that could change at any time. So I'm going to put this away for now. And I'm going to put some of this color in one of my wells so I can show you what it looks like. It's kind of like a liquidy toothpaste, really. And then from here you can add water to it. So I can take some water on my brush and just tap it along the side of the well, and that adds water into it very quickly. Okay, and then you can kind of stir that up. This color is called Lunar Blue. It's a really pretty new color that I got recently. So I'll show you how that works. A few other tools that you might like. And before I forget, this is another type of watercolor paint. So this comes in a bottle, it's liquid. It's really great sometimes when you're needing it, but sometimes you can't get a super dark saturation with it. But you can still layer it, and we'll talk about layering in a minute, but liquid watercolor is great, especially when I'm teaching. My students really like it. It's very convenient, and you can always set up just the amount that you want before you start painting, which is really nice. And we're going to talk about that in a minute too. Another tool that I really like are my spray bottles. These are terrific because I can put different things in them. This one is just water. This one is rubbing alcohol, and I'll show you what this does in a little bit. This is a color that I mixed earlier. I'm working on a little project with some very transparent layers, so I'm using this. Lots of different tools that you can use. These are the brushes. There are different kinds. This one's sort of a moppy brush, right? And you can put a lot of liquid on this, and you can paint very large areas with a moppy brush. Here's another example of a mop brush. This holds a lot of liquid. These are the basic brushes that we use. Flat brushes are very convenient, and then these nice pointy brushes. With a pointier round brush, you can get very clean lines, and these come in so many different sizes. So depending on the level of detail that you want, you'll want to have some different sizes here. Another way to apply paint that you may not have thought of would be one of these fine metal tip fine liners. Or you can put other things in it like India ink, and you can layer it on top of your watercolors. You can use a squirt gun. You can use a lot of things. This is a paint pen. This actually has water in it. And if I want to, I can just squeeze the pen a little bit to release some of the water and then get some paint on that brush, just like I showed you earlier. There's your color. So these are really neat for other reasons. For example, when you're traveling, this would be a great thing to bring with you. So if you have just a small sketchbook maybe and a small set of paints and a pen brush, you're good. And it's really easy to clean because all you have to do is kind of squeeze the water and it kind of just comes, it fades right out. Even if it doesn't look clean, you'll see that it is. Great tool. Those are just some of the basic tools for now. This is a special tape that I use. It's not as sticky as regular tape, so it won't tear the paper. So this is a nice type of tape to have. If you don't have this and all you have is masking tape, you can take this tape and just kind of use it a few times. I suggest doing it on your jeans actually because the fabric has lint and the fabric will actually, some of the lint will stick to it and make it less strong. You don't want the tape to be super strong so you don't tear your paper. And of course we're using watercolor paper, and I wrote a few things down and we'll do all of that in a minute. These are just the basics. And oh sorry, I wanted to show you the tube paints as well. Lots of different brands, they come in different colors. You can buy the little cakes too, so some kits will be like this, but they'll have little empty slots for different colors and you can actually choose the colors on your own. That's another type to consider. Otherwise, my personal favorite, I love these liquid colors. I think they're great, but I am not super duper picky. I also enjoy using inks. Inks are like a really thick watercolor. Put it against the white paper so you can see the color. They're very, very saturated. They're very thick. If you water them down, yeah, it is like watercolor, but it's not made of the same materials. Ink, when it dries, is waterproof. Watercolor paint, if I make a mistake, I can go back in and re-wet it and fix it. So there is a difference here. This is for later when you're ready to try new stuff. Okay, that's it for the absolute basics. And we'll come back and we will fill in all of these boxes.